morning and welcome to our program, Oddities, Authors, and Stories. I am your new host, Jessica Brown. I am the woman behind the stories that we have been presenting since February of last year, and I now feel confident to become the new host of this program. This month is Shakespeare month, so we decided that this month's oddity will focus on the Bard himself and what is considered one of his not so great plays. As Terry has mentioned when she was hosting this program beforehand, the opinions and views presented in this program are not the opinions and views shared by the library. The name William Shakespeare has been in the public consciousness since at least 1600. Whether you were assigned to read his plays in your high school English class or you watched a performance of his plays at your nearby Renaissance fair or park, Shakespeare is synonymous with the word drama. Though he is not without his flaws, here is a little rundown of one of his blunders, a little play known as Titus Andronicus. The play tells of a Roman general, the titular Titus Andronicus, and the schemings of the Queen of the Goths, Tamara. This is Germanic Goths, not fad Goths. There's a huge difference between the two. And the cycle of vengeance both are entangled in, and that it gets bloodier and bloodier with each act. So let's try to break down why this play isn't particularly well regarded, to the point where some scholars believe that Shakespeare didn't even write this play. It's been theorized that part of the reason why this play isn't so well regarded compared to some of his other plays, besides the aforementioned graphic violence, was the fact that Shakespeare at this time was still a somewhat inexperienced playwright who mostly, up until this point, delved into comedies and history plays. Not everybody goes outside of their comfort zone and debuts with a masterpiece. There's also the popular theory that Titus Andronicus is a parody of what is referred to as the revenge tragedy. These types of plays were very popular at the time, and they are exactly what you think they are: a huge body count, usually a murder, and it climaxes in a very nasty way. Think of it almost like it's almost as brutally violent as your average episode of Game of Thrones. Hamlet is another example of what is called a revenge tragedy, though it's much more renowned than Titus. In fact, you see more performances and film adaptations of Hamlet than you do Titus. One of Shakespeare's most devout scholars, Harold Bloom, has stated a couple of times that it's impossible for an audience to enjoy Titus Andronicus if they take it seriously. However, considering some of these plays' other subject matters, some of which are not safe for work, I'm not going to say them out loud, that theory doesn't really hold too much water. In recent years, however, Titus Andronicus has seen a resurgence starting in 1999 with a Julie Taymor-directed film adaptation starring Anthony Hopkins and Jessica Lange as Titus and Tamara. The showrunners of Game of Thrones and George R.R. Martin were clearly inspired by this play, as one particular scene in season 6 would definitely raise a few eyebrows and spark some interest. Sweeney Todd, whether in his Penny Dreadful origins or in Stephen Sondheim's Tony Award-winning musical, owes a debt to this play. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you've seen the musical, you probably know. Even one of South Park's most notorious episodes, Scott Tenorman Must Die, takes some inspiration from this play, and just like with Game of Thrones and with Sweeney Todd, if you've seen this particular episode, you know. It also should be noted that Titus Andronicus is possibly one of the first written instances of what we know as the Yo Mama joke. I present to you a quote from Titus Andronicus, Act 4, Scene 2. Villain, what hast thou done? That which thou canst not undo. Thou hast undone our mother. Villain, I have done thy mother. And the funny thing is, this is that Shakespeare, in a lot of his plays, filled a lot of his filled a lot of his plays, especially his comedies, with innuendo and dirty jokes that would even make modern audiences blush once they got past the Elizabethan prose. So there should be something noted about the fact that the bard himself possibly popularized the umama joke. So the next time you pick up a Shakespeare compilation, take some time to read through Titus Andronicus and judge for yourself if whether it should be remembered alongside other tragedies like Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and Hamlet, or it should be forgotten as a weak and idle theme from an otherwise brilliant playwright. Thank you for joining us for this month's Oddities. We hope to see you next month for when we talk about a award-winning thriller novelist who inadvertently helped create one of theater's most notorious musicals. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.